Yo, hello y'all. Welcome to the Destination Unknown Dude channel. I'm not gonna make you look at me today, but figured I'd show my face. I haven't shown it in a while. Beautiful day in the Philippines. Not too hot, sunny. I can't see nothing. We're making some solar, making some energy. Today, we're talking about fast money jobs, a topic that I know well. So let's get going. A buddy of mine hit me up looking to pick my brain about getting overseas, making some fast money, avoiding some taxes, and setting his life up for an early retirement. As you know, that's a subject I know well. If you're new to the channel, I spent some time in the Middle East, saved all the money they gave me, invested it in the stock market, and retired early at 50. And here I am in the Philippines, sitting on a farm I paid cash for, chickens I paid cash for, car I paid cash for, house I paid cash for. No debt. Sitting here doing the do. I paid my dues. I did my time overseas. I made my sacrifice. I worked my 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. Oh, baby chicks need some water. Baby chicks need some food. Looking good otherwise. I made my sacrifice, and this is what I got to show for it. So that's the key, is make your sacrifice and have something to show for it. This is what I'm showing for it. And so he asked me, he's like, hey man, how'd you get hooked up with that job? And I told him, I said, I talked to the boys I worked with at the time, and they gave me the lay of the land and told me some contract companies that were working overseas that had contracts. And so that's what got me in that job. So I answered this question, and he gave me a little bit more information that him and his wife were they were separated, and who knows what's going to happen with that. And he's wanting to accelerate his cash. Well, I pointed out the fact that both him and his wife are making 6 figures plus, solid salaries. Like, what you been doing for the last 10 years? And because he's made more over the last 10 years than I have. And over the last 10 years, I've spent time in the Middle East, socking away money. And, he's a spender. He spent it. And he's got 4 cars and who knows what else. And, he's typical American life that is centered around consuming. That's what the economy is based on. That's how we're marketed. And even me, sitting here in the Philippines, I'm not marketed for consumption. I don't need to buy a bunch of stuff. When I go back to the U.S., I feel compelled to buy stuff. I feel compelled. It's just part of the society there, keeping up with the Joneses, spending the money. So I said, hey man, you could go overseas. Unfortunately, the jobs have dried up. The actual location, the office location that I worked in Kuwait, is now blown up thanks to this dust up with Iran. It no longer exists. That base in Kuwait is closed or being closed. And the job that I had in Qatar is dried up. There's not a single contractor working in that job anymore. All the contractors are gone. They've been fired or been relocated to the U.S. and decided to quit because there's no money in the U.S. So those desires that he may have had to get fast money and save it and all that kind of stuff, at least temporarily, those opportunities dealing with the government contracting anyways are gone. There might still be some jobs in Jordan, maybe in Dubai. I don't know. But most of my buddies that I worked with, they've all moved on to similar type jobs working for the U.S. government in Germany. Unfortunately for them, Germany's not fast money. It's same money as the U.S., but they'll pay you for your living. So it's not fast money. It's okay money, but you're in a country where the weather's crap. Not that the weather's great in the Middle East, but you're in a country where the weather's crap. And they'll give you some money to live, and you got to buy a car and get an apartment, furnished apartment. You can't just show up. What I'm saying is, you can't just show up with a suitcase and start making bank. It's a little bit different in Germany. It might be a better way of life. I don't know. I've never lived in Germany. But your chances of spending money are pretty good. Your chances of saving money are not as good as the Middle East, where there's just, you show up with a suitcase, you're living in an apartment, you're not motivated to set up shop and make your life permanent or comfortable in the Middle East. It's just not, it's not it. Qatar, maybe. Dubai, maybe. But Kuwait for sure was not it. I wanted to spend as small amount of time in Kuwait as possible. Just wasn't my cup of tea. So this goes back to, well, you know, so I answered this question. I didn't have any inside scoop, and everybody's going to Germany, and the money's not great in Germany for what he's trying to do. He could avoid taxes. And so my answer to him was, get yourself a remote job and set up shop overseas illegitimately. You're lying, but what are they going to do, fire you? So that's fine. Get another remote job. But you get a remote job. They want you to stay in the U.S. You get a travel router that's configured to connect to U.S. IP space. And you connect your work laptop to that travel router. It never sees any internet unless it's connected to that VPN, so you don't accidentally forget and expose yourself that you're in Costa Rica. So it either connects to that VPN that you have back to the States, or it doesn't connect to the internet at all. So you can do that. People are doing that. And then you just tell them that you're in Florida or whatever state you want to be in. And that's it. Unless they need to see you in the office, you're set. And if they ever need to see you in the office, you just get on the first plane out of there and get there and play the game and then head back. Or that's just a risk you take. But the real answer to the question is, what the heck have you been doing for the last 10 years? Yeah, you've been in the States, and yeah, you've been paying taxes, but you've got 2 incomes. You got no kids. You got 2 solid 6-figure incomes. Why do you have nothing to show for it? Why do you feel you need to accelerate? What you been doing? You know, you're a similar age to me. Why are you just now having this epiphany that you want to work an overseas job and start, you know, socking money away and try to retire early? What the hell you been doing? And for you guys that are watching this, take note of that. Take notice of that. You know, this guy made more money in the last 10 years, like I said, than I did when I was overseas. And I got this to show for it. What's he got to show for it? Some cars, maybe some vacations, I don't know, a boat, some bullshit, some consumption. You can get here if you've got the ability and control to save your ass off. Save your money. Invest your money. Get the book called The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. Get that book. Read that book. It's an easy read. Read that book over some, toilet time. It'll take you, a couple hours to read that book. Get the gist of what the dude's trying to say and start living that. Start living it. Don't waste your after-tax money on a boat. So that boat cost you 20 grand, but you paid taxes on that money. So what'd that boat really cost you? It cost you more than 20 grand because you paid taxes on that money. And then you want to upgrade that boat. You need to fix that boat. Break off another $1,000 every time you want to take that boat out. It's going to cost you $1,000. Everything's going to be broke. You want to upgrade. You want a fish finder. You want a this. You want a that. All that stuff adds up. You got a Netflix subscription. You got 10 other subscriptions. Everybody's got a handout. You got satellite radio. Slim your life down as if you really wanted to retire. Feel a little pain. Feel a little discomfort for a short amount of time. And then shut it down. Shut it down and live in an exotic location because you've earned it. You've made the sacrifice. I made the sacrifice. I went overseas and made the sacrifice. Unfortunately, those jobs are dried up right now. They could change in the near future. Who knows? But they're dried up right now. So what are you going to do in the meantime? Oh, I'm going to look for another job. Oh, okay. Look for a job overseas. But if you haven't got your spending under control and your self-control under control and haven't put a plan together of what you're going to do, like I've said before, changing your location is not going to change your personality. It's not going to change who you are. If you don't have control over your spending habits and your emotions and your views on life, then getting overseas and making fast money is not going to fix your situation. You fix your situation by starting now. Start now. Start now. Put a significant budget on over your head. Stop consuming. Stop buying the bullshit and save your ass off and get that practice that you're going to need for when you do get overseas and set up shop. If you do find your job overseas and set up shop, and you already know the game plan. You already read the book. You already know what you're going to do. And there's other books, but that one happens to be the one that I read, and it's super easy to read. Any dummy can pick up that book and put a plan together, a basic plan that is set up for success. And you can expand upon your ideas, like maybe you want to buy some Microsoft stock or buy some Nvidia stock. The way that book is set up, you just buy funds of stocks that have a historical return of 10% per year. And they've been doing that since inception, and they're going to continue to do that for the foreseeable future. Okay, so that's the gist of the book. The gist of the book is stop doing the consumption that you're doing and start setting yourself up for success. Maximize your retirement fund contributions so that you can lower your tax liabilities now. Maximize your HSA account, your health savings account, so you can use that money tax-free later and lower your tax liability now. Do all those things. Read the book. Do all those things in the book. And you don't need a new job. You don't need to leave the country. You could. If you got a remote job, you could leave the country. And that's another thing. If you had a remote job and you chose to lie about your location and set up the VPNs like I mentioned, it's a risk. But if you do that for a year, then you tell the IRS that you've been working outside the country. And this isn't tax advice, but you can take that tax credit for working outside the country. You earn money outside the country. So that means that you don't pay taxes on the first 130 or whatever it is. It changes every year, 130,000. You pay no taxes on that. And your company doesn't know what you're doing with your W-2. That's none of their business. Whatever you talk to the IRS about and how you submit your taxes is none of your company's business. They don't know. They don't care. So you're earning outside of the country and you're paying a lower tax amount on that. Like I told you, 1 year, I was working in Kuwait, making $230,000. And my company did something weird with cost of living. They didn't calculate cost of living correctly in our pay. So I was able to claim cost of living allowance working overseas. So that was a big tax benefit to me. I maxed out my 401k. That was a big tax benefit to me. And by the time it was all said and done, and I didn't pay income tax during the year, and that was allowed because I was in a war zone, and Kuwait was considered a war zone, even though we never had any issue there. Whoa, got some breeze. We never had any issue there when I was working, although it's blown up now. But because I was working in a war zone, you don't have to pay income tax on your paycheck, and you won't have to pay any fees or fines for doing that. So I set that up. All we had to do was send them an email. Hey IRS, I'm working in Kuwait. I'm not going to pay income tax on my income. I'll settle it out when I leave this place. And you can do that, no problem. Even as a contractor, you can do that. So I did. So I didn't wait till I left. I paid my taxes at the end of the year, and when I did that, I didn't get any fines or anything. And they said, all right, well, now you owe us the balance of your income tax, and based on what you've submitted, your cost of living and all that stuff, my tax guy says, all right, you owe the IRS $5,000. So let me tell you something. If you're making $230,000 and you pay the IRS $5,000, you have won. That's the best I could ever do. And it was based on, maximizing all the benefits that I could, as far as maximize the 401k, give the maximum amount, do the cost of living thing, and then have the benefit of working overseas. I paid 5 G's to the tax man, even though I earned 230. So those are the benefits that you could take advantage of if you worked overseas. I was able to for that time, but you don't have to. You could save your money now. You could stop living paycheck to paycheck now with your money. Especially this guy that had 2 6-figure salaries. He could save his money now. So there you go. Now, there's not the same type of adventure, but it takes a lot. It takes money to get set up in another country. It takes effort. It takes time. Even if you show up in the Middle East with a suitcase, you still have things that you want to get. So, I spent a couple $1,000 getting set up. I wanted some computer stuff. I wanted a different mattress because the bed mattress sucked in the apartment they set us up in. All that kind of stuff. You got to make it yours. And, so it takes money to get that going. So it's not always the panacea. Going overseas is not always the panacea, especially if there's no opportunities there to make fast money. If you're going to Germany for $125,000 that you could make in the States, but they'll pay for your cost of living, you ain't making no money there. That's not enough. It's not enough to justify blowing your life up and going over there, because you're going to spend all that. You're going to get set up, you're going to spend it, and then, life happens, and, just get on the program now. Stop the spending. Start the saving. Start the saving hard. And you can do it. I'm doing it. I did it. You could do it. And even though the Middle East is pretty much dried up now, there might be another chance at another country. I don't know. All I know is what I've experienced. But there's Africa, there's Djibouti. Living and working around a bunch of warlords seems really unstable. To me, I wouldn't subject myself to that. That's a little too much. But you could research Djibouti. That's a spot where a lot of contractors go and work and make a lot of money. And there might be other spots that I don't know about. So there you go. That's the talk on that. That's what I would do with that. That's the advice I gave him. And maybe that advice and that information can help you guys out. All right, y'all. Destination Unknown Dude out. Like, comment, subscribe.